new norm. I'm Dr. Lou Graham, and this will be episode number 2 with Gary Kadi, brought to you by Midway Dental and Catapult Education. Just a recap. Gary talked about really 12 common crises in dentists' lives. We also talked about how he classified doctors as navigators, wave runners, and drowners. And that'll carry over. So if you haven't seen that, go back and see that episode. Gary, let's go right back. Let's just move forward and talk about packaging the practice right now. Dentists are coming out of this. Let's start the dialogue that way. What are your thoughts on packaging the practice currently?
Well, there's going to be 4 phases, Lou. We got to jump right into putting the phases of recovery, and they're going to be at different places at different times. I'm plugged into every organization, from the ADA to OSHA, staying plugged into regulations, and then plugged into countries. So I'm really plugged into the countries that are going before us and coming back before us and other industries. So I always, again, if anybody tells you they know exactly what's going to happen, nobody does, because even these organizations don't. So I want to get you into the mindset that I'm giving you today, which is called building the plane while you're flying it. We are building the plane while we're flying it. We are going to go into taking off, and we need to get going. But so there's people that are, in one of 2 places. They're sitting back, waiting and looking around and hoping that it all happens. And they're living in what I call Zoom fatigue, because they're listening to a bunch of webinars with a bunch of fragmented communication that they don't know who to believe. And that's a really tough place to be. So here's what you do. You want to plug into someone like yourself, who is at the forefront of people who can move forward in the face of uncertainty. And one of the things that we have is we call it the 4-phase process. Safety is number 1. And this is a big missing, because it's not just safety for you as the doctor, it's safety for your team. Even if you think that they're not going to be worried about that, safety for the patient. So safety is number 1. Number 2 is solvency. Obviously, if you're not alive, you don't care about money. Some people have solvency first. We have safety first. Safety, solvency, reset, and it's R-E, small r-E, big S. So I like all S's. Reset, and then surge on the backside. And as we speak here, there's a lot of people who are worried about if people are coming back. And if you do the things that we're talking about here today, you'll come back to a surge. Like we do in Florida. I just got reports yesterday, just huge surges of people wanting to come in. I'm scaling my lower anteriors, Lou. I don't know if you know that. I am like dying to get back to my hygienist. So no laugh on that, Lou. Like, come on, brother. Give me a laugh track, Lou. Come on.
Kind of scares me, Gary, a little bit, but I gotta be careful on how I react to that. Oh boy.
Look.
Oh boy. So let's talk. Let's go into these 4 phases. So are you saying phase 1 is safety? Is that what you're saying, or no?
Yes, yeah. These are the phases, but I want to give you one more piece of structure, Lou, before we unpack each of these.
Yeah.
You got to have what I call a 90-30-1-1. So when there's uncertainty, when there's like no structure, fear, I call it turning FUD into fudge. FUD is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Everybody is in FUD. How do you turn it into fudge? The sweetness. How do you move forward? Well, how you do that is you create a 90-30-1-1. 90 day. So let's just say we're in May, 90, May, June, July, because then inside that you create 3 30-day game plans that are created about 15 days prior to the one before it. And then you do for the people that are afraid to pivot, or if you told somebody, maybe your patient or your team something, and they lock into it and they say, well, you said this. For instance, reducing people's salaries, or and I tell people that it's going to go for a month, and now I get my PPE. Well, that changed. So the one is every day things can change, and then giving permission that every hour can change. That's the 90-30-1-1.
Wow. I really dig the 90. I love that. Okay, so we're going to end on that on this episode. Let's go to safety. So, okay, curious how you think on safety. You go first, I'll go, and then we'll go to number 2. So give me your must-haves on safety.
Here's the deal. It's safety for the doctor, safety for the team, safety for the patient. I want to give you a distinction here is speaking to the 10. So everyone has a different level of fear about coming back as it relates to safety, right?
Yep.
But if you speak to the 10, and what I mean by that, Lou, is if it's 0, you're not afraid at all, and you look through those eyes, and you don't speak to the 10, which is you don't know which one of your patients are freaked out about it. They might have a comorbidity, they might have diabetes, they might have pneumonia before.
Or
you
your
don't
team.
know. Or yeah, well that's the other piece. I have doctors. They go, oh my team's young. Don't say that. Don't assume that. The first thing you want to do is the first question. I've been doing team meetings. I've done probably 100 of them. And I'm observing so I've gone back into the day-to-day coaching, Lou, to get what people are dealing with, so I can be at where the boots are on the street of hundreds of practices, so I can hear what the concerns are, and then I reverse engineer the solution. And I'm telling you, doctors are going in assuming that their team's ready to come back, and they're not. And you need to address that first as a group and then as individuals. Huge missing in today's re-entry.
Yeah, and I mean, I heard the statistic, Gary, that 61% of dental hygienists haven't even heard from their owners since their office closed. I just don't understand how we cannot be communicating with Zoom and other vehicles like that to get our team geared like you're talking about, because you're just not going to go back and go day one, we're back, everything's okay.
Hello. You know what? Somebody just jumped in here. Let's just give me a second. We have, right now what we have, Lou, is we have a recording of one of our clients playing. It just popped up. Isn't that interesting? So there you go. I just shut it off. And that's what we have to deal with in today's world. I want to take you back to what you said, which I didn't add. I thought we were going to dive right into the 90-30-1-1. I want to reverse one section.
Okay, do it.
Team communication weekly, patient communication. If you have something to say, we have people communicating with them every other day. So I want to be clear. You want to plug in. We have a WhatsApp group of nationwide people. We also have a certainty and uncertainty webinar every Tuesday at 4 o'clock. What that does, Lou, is you get plugged into what you need to do from a business place, what you need to do from a team place, and it's also a crowdsourced place to get the types of videos doctors are sending out, and you swipe and deploy those, right? So we have a swipe and deploy communication structure, which is really valuable right now. And then
That's
you need
Wait, is that on Next Level? Where is that?
Yeah, it's at Next Level. You can go to the NextLevel Practice, and it's certainty in an uncertain world. And we'll also grant any Midway client, Midway community member access to the WhatsApp group. They just need to just go on our site and just say you want access, and your Midway customer will get it done.
That's great. Yep.
Yeah, but that swipe and deploy is huge, because a lot of doctors can't just do their own videos and stuff, but if you have the script and you see it, it's easy to do. The next thing, you said Zoom with your team. We believe Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, after we set you up Monday and Tuesday of all the communication from you at Catapult, from the WhatsApp group, from the Certainty webinar. We're in our 9th one. We have over 1,700 people on that one, Lou. And what's happening is we have a panel of experts that are coming in, and we're bringing continuity to this on what to do to come back. It's really powerful. Then what you want to do is, you said it right, it's 60% of doctors have not communicated with their team. As we get into these other episodes that we're going to do today, you're going to want to re-interview your team, because you may not want them back and they may not be coming back. So you want to just blank slate, like an Etch-a-Sketch. You know those old Etch-a-Sketches? So in the dinosaur age, it's like red thing, and you had 2 knobs, and you can draw on it, and then you turn it over, shake it, and it blank slate. There's a new, like you said, new norm for the practice, new norm for the patient, new norm for the doctor, new norm for dentistry. And if you don't go where that puck is going to be, you're going to be left behind, and you don't want to have that. So there's a way to plug into all this. And then the communication to your patients. We have people communicating with their patients, like how to put a mask on, how to take gloves on and off, because then you are the expert of infection control, and you're doing that by educating them. And so it's really a customer service. We say, have the vision that you are a stand for the people, let's say, of Orange County, and you are a hub for information on health, safety, and wellness.
I'm Gary. So here would be my takeaway from this. If you're a practice and you have not been communicating with your team and you're planning on opening in the next 2 weeks, you are probably already a month behind in talking to your team and really planning agendas and making sure everybody's together. Because Gary, you cannot open this office as a doctor only or as a hygienist only. It's got to be the entire team, because this is an exhausting time for everybody, and I'm sure again you would agree with that.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And Lou, that's so spot on. But it's like I in my recovery blueprint, each week I start with a new group of people. It's 3 1-hour Zoom sessions.
Okay.
And what's really great is everybody's blank slate, so everybody's starting from the same spot.
Right.
I don't have to customize for one individual. It's like everybody just wants to know, how do I begin this process? Like Gary, you just said 90-30-1-1. That sounds like a good idea. How do I do it? So I'm giving the what to do here, but we'll get granular over there, Lou, and really unpack it. We'll get related. It's interactive, and it gives you the confidence. I had an introverted doctor who now can't stay off video, Lou, because he didn't die the first time he did it. Once he cracked the code, and now he's communicating with his patients. He just makes little videos, and people love him. He's like a guy who just, says, I'm scared to do this, but I want to be helpful. And now everybody loves him. He's like, a sensation in his marketplace. And he never could dream himself ever doing that.
Yeah, and I don't think I just think if dentists are home and teams are home and they're not really working together, they're home. That's the challenge here. They're used to seeing each other. But Gary, I got to tell you, between WhatsApp and these other things that you're talking about, I would urge offices, get off your butts and start working together. So when you see each other, when you're opening Monday or Tuesday, it's almost like you need a dress rehearsal before you're really ready to open.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
I would look at it.
Well, there's 5 buckets. If you're not thinking about these 5 buckets and in safety, you're going to be left behind. First is obviously PPE. And we have people making it fun and sexy so it doesn't look like a hazmat world. And then also where to source this. That's why I'm a big, I've been sending so many people to Midway because of, you need a different relationship to your service provider and your merchandise house and your equipment house. You need a different relationship with them. And that's why I love working with you in Midway, because they get it. They're taking care of their people. It's not like you're a number and you're thrown out there. And if you're not one of this, you're not included. And so PPE is number 1. And then also we have a community. You want to also be a part of community. So we're crowdsourcing things I'm from New York. I'm out in Arizona right now, but in New York, they crowdsourced and they shared stuff. We're doing that as a community. I have Brian Davey in San Diego who got 5,095 masks. He shared that with the community. Being a part of a community right now is really valuable.
Right.
Air quality assurance, UV, air conditioning, heating, water lines, vaporizers. As you know, our friend Tanya with hydrogen peroxide. You can't buy hydrogen peroxide. We're going to talk about hydrogen peroxide and its benefits, as a vaporizer, you can sterilize N95 masks with hydrogen peroxide, put it in a bag, mark it Monday, and Thursday you can use that again. These are things that, we've learned by crowdsourcing, what's happening. So air quality assurance is big. Physical flow. So, this is a simple thing you can do. First of all, we have, parking lot reception areas. We have teledentistry in there. I'm going to get to that next. But then you're doing parking lot areas. Then when you come in, you only have one flow like they have at supermarkets. I go to Safeway here. You go in this way, you come out this way. You actually take a video of it and show them what you did so that it's not just the safety here, as you're seeing, it's also the marketing to overcome the barrier of people coming back and speaking to the 10, Lou. Speaking to the 10. You want to overserve. And then no touch front office. This is a dream. We turned a breakdown into a breakthrough. We now call people 3 days in advance. We tell them about the 5 buckets. We also tell them about how we take care of seniors. We open early hours for seniors like they do at Sprouts over here. I stole it from them. They let me do it. And seniors love that. 60 or older, not 55, because I'd be a senior, Lou. And here's the thing. I made it 60. You're not 60, right? You're 42?
You're dead. Go ahead.
Premature gray, brother. Listen, you call ahead and you say, and by the way, these 5 buckets, you're talking to your team. You got to enroll your internal customer, your team, on what you're doing. When doctors don't communicate this, their team's freaking out. I got onto a Zoom with a team, and the doctor didn't tell them about, I was working with the doctor, did all these 5 buckets. They're freaking out. And then the minute they say this, they go, wow, doctor, thank you. You never, the biggest illusion about communication is that it happened. A lot of people have conversations in their head and they don't express it to their internal customer, their team, external customer, their patient.
Right.
Anyway, no touch front office, 5 buckets, prepay with a credit card. We're not going to touch your credit card. And then the last one is complete health dentistry, where the mouth and the body are connected. Hydrogen peroxide is a big deal in this whole thing, perioprotect, etc. And I want to stop here because I know we're at time. Okay,
so I'll just close episode 2 with you and go community. I think what Midway is really trying to do is as Gary said, it's all about this value thing, and value cannot be, it's a beautiful thing, especially now with community. The resource library is what Midway and Keith Cooper are really putting together. And so it's release forms, it's questionnaires, it's step-by-steps. Some follow protocols that are commonplace, and others, like our questionnaire, is far more advanced, more in-depth questions, more step-by-steps. I would definitely be using our resource center. It's open to all, open to all. It's all about practicing, as Gary Kadi just said, safety first. Okay, we'll bring Gary back for episode 3. Lou Graham for the new norm. Be safe, be smart. Thank you. So let me be clear. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your questions. So what we want you to do is we want you to go to education@midwaydental.com. Shoot us your questions. We'll go right to the experts. I know I'm not the expert, so let's go ask the experts what we should be doing as our next step next week, the week after, and thereafter. I look forward to hearing from you.